Great. We'll start off with Malika Andrews from ESPN.
Hey, Blake, just between, the fan dumping popcorn on Russell Westbrook, Trae Young in the Garden, Kyrie talking about how he hopes that when fans, potentially taunt him in Brooklyn, that it's basketball related taunts. I'm wondering, you as a player who's been around the league for a while, what you make now that fans are coming back of sort of this behavior that we've seen over the last couple of games.
Well, I mean, I think there's obviously a line. I think what happened to Russ is obviously far beyond that line. But like the stuff in the Garden with Trae, I mean, that's just like he was kind of giving it to them at the end of game one, and they're giving it back to him. That's just like sort of like a hostile environment, and I mean hostile in like a basketball way, not like a actually hostile environment. And it's fun to play in those situations. So I mean, I'm not sure what to expect in Boston, but I expect them to be loud and to be rowdy. And you never want anything to cross the line, but that's not really my thought going into it. I appreciate when fans are loud and they're passionate and they cheer for their teams. It makes it more fun to play.
Thank you.
Brian Lewis with the New York Post.
I'm curious, following up on that. I mean, is that something that, not asking you to divulge personal conversations, but is that something that you guys kind of discuss within the locker room, saying, hey, this is probably what it'll be like, or I wonder if it'll be like that? And do you think there could be even unintended consequences that they'll now be worse than whatever it would have been if Kyrie had never spoken on it or talked about it?
I don't know. I mean, that's a good question. In terms of have we spoken about it, it's kind of an understood thing when you go into certain places. It's going to be a pretty rowdy crowd. Each arena is different. Each state, each city is a little different. I've heard things throughout my time in the league. Never played a playoff game in Boston, so it's a little different regular season. Hopefully not. Like I said, I have a lot of respect for the fans in Boston. They know the game. They're loud. They support their team. But you just hope it. Yeah, you hope it stays like that and doesn't cross any lines. But again, I'm not going into it with that expectation because I haven't had that experience, and that's just kind of how I operate.
Christian Winfield with the New York Daily News.
Hey, Blake, obviously I think we're all expecting the Celtics fans to give the Celtics a boost, right? Now that they're back home. Is there anything you can do in preparation of that boost, or is it just focus on yourselves and hopefully the work that you put in practice translate over to Boston?
Yeah, I mean, not having played in front of like a true away crowd, I don't even know what the capacity. I heard it was not full on Friday, but then full Sunday or something. But having not played in front of like a full capacity crowd on the road in a while, I don't know what you can do to really prepare. It's just kind of one of those things you kind of get used to over time. But I think on the court, the things we can do are make sure we do the little things, cut down on turnovers, offensive rebounds, all those energy plays, hustle plays. You want to get to the ball first and all that, just to kind of cut down on giving them momentum or giving them a reason to get into the game.
Alex Schiffer with The Athletic.
Hey, Blake, you looked at you guys' defense for the first two games. I'm curious if you kind of point to just increased effort across the board or certain tactical things as to why you guys have been so effective against them on that side of the ball.
I think our attention to detail has been really good, in these practices and in our preparation. Our communication's been good. Guys have been flying around. And, our coaching staff has done a good job of just kind of preparing us for different situations. So it's really good to see, like, when you come into these practices, starting back from last week, after we had a day off after the last regular season game, our defensive intensity and our defensive focus has been so high in every single one of these practices. And that's what's going to make the difference for us.
Greg Logan with Newsday.
Blake, in 6 of the last 8 quarters that you played against the Celtics, you guys have been off the charts in terms of offense. Why is it do you think that you are so dominant on offense? And do you see any way that the Celtics could ever shut you down?
The first game, I thought we missed a lot of shots. We were kind of pressing a little bit. Like I said, after game one, I thought we just kind of accepted their switches and tried to ISO a little bit too much. In the last game, I think it was a combination of defensively, we were very good to start the game. And, when you don't have to stop and get the ball out, take the ball out every single time, when you can get buckets in transition, you put a lot of pressure on them. And you see the ball go in and you play a lot more freely and they're always on their heels. So that's, I think the reason we had so much success the last 6 quarters of 8 or whatever you said. But Boston's a very capable team. They have talented guys. So of course they can play well and we can have an off night, or not even that. They can just play really well. So we're not taking them lightly. We're not thinking just because we've had 6 good quarters that there's no way they can beat us. That's not our mindset over here, and I promise you it will never be that.
Back to Alex Schiffer.
Blake, I want to ask you guys, Robert Williams was obviously such a factor in game 1 and was less of that in game 2. Was it part of the game plan to be physical with him and try and draw him into foul trouble, or did that just kind of happen with some of those dunks you had and him hitting you on those?
He obviously had a big impact. The idea of being physical, or our game plan of being physical, that was there in game 1. We just didn't do a great job with him in particular. I thought we did a solid job in other areas, but he's extremely talented, and he has to be accounted for, especially around the rim. So, that will be, and that is a game plan going forward. You have to be physical, but I thought we just, had a little bit better focus on him in game 2.
Thanks, Blake. We appreciate it.
Yes.